Yeah, Opti-Coat has been around for so long. They're kind of one of those core groups with ceramic coating, so everybody knows the name. And what I've learned was in the industry, it's like whoever makes the biggest splash. It doesn't have to be the best. So it kind of, you ride this roller coaster. It's time to, highlight those good core companies that really have innovative products. You guys sent me, some spray compounds. I've never used spray compounds. It's in a bottle.
What was your experience
on your pad? And I was doubting. I said, man, I don't know about this. It's kind of, it's new to me. I'm sure a lot of people use it. And I got one of your pads on there and just kind of went to town and did some different test spots. Now it's starting to innovate into kind of my go-to and a lot of that unique.
Wow. The yellow bevel waffle foam pad.
Yeah.
Hi friends, welcome to the Opti-Coat Podcast, where we share stories from detailing professionals and highlight cutting-edge products, techniques, and tools that'll help your detailing to accelerate into the future. Wherever you're listening or watching this podcast, please follow, like, subscribe, and share with a friend. I hope you enjoy the conversation.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. We've got a very special episode. We've got Kirk Evans on, and we're going to try and cover a lot of ground in a short amount of time. And Kirk, thanks so much for coming on. Where are you right now?
I am in my office in Cookeville, Tennessee. We're about an hour outside of Nashville. My business, Pro Auto Detail Incorporated. I've been doing this 25 years almost. So I still operate a full-time shop along with Detailers Roundtable. And we're throwing an expo, Shine Time Luxury Detail Expo in June. So got a lot on the table. I'm on the phone a lot, but it's a shift. It's changed. My day to day, it's definitely changed a lot. So,
wow. Okay, we're gonna totally ask a bunch of questions about the roundtable and the expo. When it comes to detailing, where's your what's your shop doing right now, and kind of how'd you get there?
Well, want me to start from the beginning or just
sure.
Today?
Yes.
25 years ago. Well, I was out of college and was actually still going to college, and I kind of started this part-time. I was into car shows, had a show car, and I was just doing my own car, and people liked my attention to detail in my car. And I started doing my buddies' cars, and next thing I know, one of my buddies owned a car lot, so I started doing a car lot. And I remember the phone call, called my dad up. I said, "Hey, Dad," I said, "I think I can make a business out of this." I was so excited. And details were like $60 then, on the wholesale side. I mean, it was just nothing. It doesn't seem like a lot, but it went a lot farther then. I'm myself sound old. But I remember calling him, and my dad's always played the devil's advocate. He's always been my biggest supporter. But he always threw all those curveballs with me. As a young man, I thought I knew everything, and boy, I didn't. I really didn't know much of anything. But back then, you didn't have training. You didn't have a support system. In fact, detailers kind of hated each other. Like if you're in the same space, you didn't talk. There was this big mode of competition, and that's lessened a little bit. But I still think that carries weight to this day. So we've been trying to change that. So I ramped up. I hired my first employee once I started doing volume. I was working bell to bell. I would work. I'd get up in the morning, work all day till that 9. I'd eat supper, go back out in the shop till midnight, and I just hammered away, building that up, plugging it away. And I had a lot more energy then. I didn't have kids, so I had a lot more free time. Over the years, I started selling more accounts, started growing, linked in there. Time went around, my big account back in 08, previous 08, when the car market crashed. That's when I did my largest growing. We started to get into some dealerships and land those contracts. So our detail shop was farmed out into these locations, and that grew to something huge. And that's when we got 50-man staff. We had 4 different locations, a retail shop. We did all the service washes, lot washing, cradle grave detailing, the whole bit. So I've scaled up that. Realized that wasn't all for me. It consumed me. It took away time with my kids and my wife and everything. So I had to, downsized. Actually, the pandemic helped me a lot because it made me realize, hey, I can tuck my wings in here. I've got such a huge client base I can really funnel down. And now we've got 3 guys working for us, and we focus on, hiring ceramic coatings and paint corrections and We do a lot of hot rods and stuff from the paint shop, so into wet sanding and heavy cut and correction. So that hard knock learning has got me where I'm going, where I am now. So I love it, and I still operate a full-time shop along with the Roundtable. I'm on the phone a whole lot, and we decided to do this Shine Time Luxury Detail Expo, which is a huge endeavor. I had no idea what kind of weight that would carry and how much you'd have to be on the phone and the organization of that. So it's our first year, but the industry deserves something more, and we're trying to elevate that, not to highlight us, but to highlight the industry and highlight these individuals and give them an opportunity to network, because I think networking is so valuable to sustain long term.
Yeah, man, you brought up back in the day, there's kind of a cutthroat mentality between detailers. I think in some respects, it's kind of still, you could focus on that and you could still find that today. What I'm excited about talking with you and hear more about the Roundtable and the Shine Time Expo is, it seems like you're really focusing on what do we agree on? How can we come together as an industry? You want to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Gosh, back in, I guess 22, I started coming to the other side of the industry. I've always been in the shop, but I've always been enamored about, the celebrities, I guess, of the industry, that kind of networking, what's on the other side. So I started dedicating a lot of time to going to every training I can get, every expo I can get into. And I saw a common thing that all these walls were up between even the vendors, and these egos were so huge. I was like, hey guys, like, we're the top of the industry. You guys are the top of the industry. I call it the 1% of the industry. I said, you're leading the pack, right? I said, let's knock down these walls and let's get together and network and collaborate and help each other. And then that attracts higher prospects into the detail industry. Young, talented young man or woman that's looking into it. They don't want to see a bunch of drama. They want to see something that attracts them to it. So I wanted to be a part of what would shift that into like a more accepting support system, because man, I went through burnout. I hit wall after wall. I didn't have that support system. So to make it long term and not hit burnout, I call it recharging your batteries when you go into trainings, when you're going through expos. It's not about what you learn. You may know everything, but I guarantee you'll get value out of going to these expos. I guarantee you get value out of going to trainings, because you have that support system and you're around individuals that are like-minded and they're passionate about what you're passionate about. So when you get back to the shop, you're refueled, you're ready to go. You just run off that boost of energy until the next one. And that's really helped me maintain, still operating a shop 25 years later, and promoting the mental health balance, the work-life balance, not throw everything in your business, and how to manage your time, which is part of success. I mean, it's really valuable.
Yeah, that's great. And that's part of what the Roundtable does? Oh,
yeah. So we've developed into more of a networking type, organization. We host trainings. A lot of our members, they get together and do big jobs together because they met each other inside the expo or at groups that are our group meets and dinners that we have. And that's been really our shining star, is that support system. It's really elevated above what I thought it would initially. Because first I just wanted to pass the torch on, pass my knowledge, get other professionals together to pass on knowledge to younger detailers or even veteran detailers. But it's really morphed into that support system and that help with mental health. And heck, you can call me. A lot of times I've got a handful of guys in the group that call me just talk about anything, not just detailing. It's not just about the shiny car or the shiny jet or the boat or whatever's going on. It's how to maintain that and keep that passion alive. So,
wow. So how has Opti-Coat been a help as far as the the Shine Time Expo or the events, or just products for people that you're working with? Kind of what's been your experience? How's that added value to what you're doing?
Well, I tell you, Opti-Coat has been around for so long. They're kind of one of those core groups with ceramic coating, so everybody knows the name. And what I've learned was, in the industry, it's like whoever makes the biggest splash. It doesn't have to be the best. It kind of, you ride this roller coaster it's time to, highlight those good core companies that really have innovative products. You guys sent me some spray compounds. I've never used spray compound. It's in a bottle.
What was your experience
on your pad? And I was doubting. I said, man, I don't know about this. It's kind of it's new to me. I'm sure a lot of people use it. And I got one of your pads on there and just kind of went to town and did some different test spots. Now it's starting to innovate into kind of my go-to and a lot of that unique.
Wow. The yellow bevel waffle foam pad.
Yeah. So, it's unique products, and I've got limited taste on that. And I'm looking forward to doing more. And I'm looking forward to doing a class with Opti-Coat and really get that name of that product back out there, because the individuals behind the innovations of that is really unique. So I encourage anybody that hasn't tried it, give it a go, because it's going to go into your arsenal for sure. And I use a lot of products because we celebrate a lot of different companies, and we're kind of Switzerland. And but I don't care I'll never dog a product, but I'll absolutely say when it's great. And everything I've used so far with Opti-Coat, I can see a place in anyone's shop anytime. So looking forward to getting that out there, and hopefully we can kind of help get that word out some more again.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Before we hit the record button, we were just chatting a little bit about how the only way to really move forward in a successful way is actually to, put each other first. And it's one thing to say your product is good. It's another thing to say, hey, this product I've been using, or this detailing shop, or this, person, or this tool has, really helped me. And that way we kind of help each other out.
Yeah. I mean, when you own a company, you're supposed to say you're the best, right? Like your product's the best. So when you get it in the hands of professionals or even DIY guys that say, hey, this stuff's awesome. So, I mean, it's coming from a genuine place. I think it's important to keep that genuine relation with your customers. We talked about that earlier, how important it is to actually turn around the camera and let your customers get to know you, because they're not just buying products, they're buying the individual. And a lot of people overlook that. They record their work, which is great, but people buy from people, and they need to get to know you. They trust you. They want to see you investing in yourself in these expos and these trainings, and that's going to elevate you. So you're not just saying, I'm the best. Someone else is highlighting you and say, hey, this guy's pretty good. Look at the products he's using. He's using more innovative products. He's trying new things. His ego's lowered, so now he can learn things, because once your ego gets out of control and you say you're the best, you're done. You're done learning. The industry has flipped so much in the past 10 years, and even the last 5 years, with the product innovations and different machines and everything has come out. It's not the same it was 25 years ago, for sure. I was around before microfibers. We had cheesecloth, and we had that big, heavy Makita or Milwaukee or DeWalt, those 40-pound units, so it's came a long way. For sure. And the innovation of ceramic coating, man, what a product to actually give detailers some profit and really highlight their skills. That's been great for the industry.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Absolutely. With the Roundtable, what you're doing is you're creating culture, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Whenever we try to create culture, a culture that says, hey, let's not dog each other, let's lift each other up, you're going to run into some turbulence, right?
So
what's been your experience with redirecting people towards the positive, and how do you think that's affecting detailers with the end result of having satisfied customers?
Well, it can't be a flash in the pan. It's got to be a lifestyle change. It's got to be consistency. The basis of success in business is consistency, right? So if say you go to a restaurant and you order a burger one time, it's the best burger you ever had. Next time you come, it's horrible. Next time you come, it's okay. And it's inconsistent. You're not going to go back there, right? So just like detailing, no matter what your skill set is, be consistent at it. If you're the best car washer there is, be good at that. There's a client for that, and you're going to succeed there. If you're the best, whatever it is, be consistent with your SOP, your standard operating procedures. Get that down, so whatever you get, your customers know what to expect. It's a consistent product across the board. Every time they come, they're paying for you and the way you do it. Just like when you buy, a Big Mac, if you got a Whopper through the drive-through at McDonald's, you'd be like, hey, wait, what's going on here? And that's not what I ordered. So that's the mentality of how people think, is that in that consistent basis there. There's a second half to that question. I totally forgot what it was.
No, you got it for sure. I was just thinking of, again, one thing right before we hit record, we were talking about the different ways that we're having to kind of pivot with social media, or the different ways we can try and make an influence, whether it's you're running a shop, you're running a group, you're running expos. What have you seen shift from maybe going from just highlighting a car, taking a video of a car, taking a video of you're polishing on a car, you're applying ceramic coating? What do people care about? What does the customer care about? What's actually getting your visibility to actually get a good retention of clients? What are the kinds of things that detailers should be doing now that maybe they're not doing?
Be genuine. Turn the camera around. Introduce yourself. Be your character. Because like I said, people buy from people. The market has really flooded with the panoramic videos of cars and all this stuff, and that's great, but that's not getting the retention it used to. It's great to throw that in there as well, to show your end result, but there needs to be this mystery of the process. So too many detailers are breaking down the process too much, and they're over communicating the process, and that kind of takes away from the experience for the end result customer, because they want to see the car before and they see it after. They need to think that there's some magic going on, which there is, but they don't need the whole breakdown of the magic in the meantime. But they would like you to talk about their car. You turn around that camera, you tell a joke. If you're goofy, be goofy. If you're just a jerk, be a jerk. Whatever that is, to be genuine. Just be yourself, and I think that will get more traction. I'm seeing a lot in my personal views, just turning around the camera, and it's not a matter of being lazy. It's hard. A little bit of anxiety builds up. You don't know how to talk to a camera. You don't know how to do business online. But the truth of the matter is, your business front now is online. It's the tech side of things. It's not the brick and mortar fancy building anymore bringing people in. It's what people see on TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. Perception's reality. So to stand out, be a personality, be yourself, not just shiny car. And I think that's going to get a lot more traction. I would just like YouTube. You watch YouTube for personalities. If all you saw was what they were seeing, I don't think you'd watch it as much. You're watching it because you're getting to know that individual through a screen, right? So that's my personal outlook there.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I appreciate the fact that you said a lot of people are gonna kind of get. The reason why they show the video of the car is because they're terrified of turning the camera around for themselves and securities. How is the Roundtable a resource for, becoming more comfortable as an operator, as a business owner in the detailing community?
The hardest part for me was operating on a phone call or operating through a screen. I do a lot of Zoom calls now. I've done several podcasts. It's unnatural. It doesn't feel the same. I've always done business in person, face to face with a handshake. And so that whole selling up to a thing until we get face to face is tough. That was a very hard transition. But getting face to face, and once we start networking, one thing we hear over and over again about our trainings is, hey, I was so nervous. I didn't think I would know anybody, but I got there and I felt like I knew everybody, like we've been good friends for a long time. So that's what kind of environment we push. It's not that intimidating environment. Look at me, I'm so good at this. And a lot of that has to do with the lower ego emissions. I always call it low ego emissions. And that's important because then you're approachable. One, they see you online, they see your personality, they kind of feel like they know you already. They get to the event, and if you're genuine on the screen, in person, it's an easy transfer, right? So they get there, they're comfortable, they start asking questions, they link up with other individuals, they become good friends. And every training we've had, those individuals have linked up and done projects together. They chat together. They became good friends. And some of my best friends are across the nation now, and I don't only see them at events. because they share the passion I do, and they have the same skill set I do, and we can kind of bounce things off each other. And being able to have someone to dump that on, not just dump it on, but like as a father, head of the household, and a husband, the buck stops at me. As a business owner, the buck stops at me. I don't really have that. I don't have anywhere to vent to. If I'm having a hard day, it's not fair for me to dump it on my kids or my wife.
Right.
I can't dump it on my employees because you look weak, like you're not a leader, and you have this stigma, this negative impact on the people around you. So being part of the Roundtable, you can call a buddy up that you met at a training. You can call me up and say, hey, I'm having a hard time with this. This is what's going on. And that's part of that mental health, that work-life balance that's going to help you avoid burnout. Because I promise you, I don't care how good you are, you're going to hit a wall. And as you get older, your body's going to hit a wall. It won't allow you to work as long as you were when you were in your 20s. I could work hours and hours in my 20s. Now, not so much. I'm pretty beat at a full regular day. So it's for me. It was time to pass the torch, not just with my knowledge, but to tell younger detailers or even veteran detailers how to keep going. How to not hit that wall, how to avoid burnout. And the key to it, man, is really come to these expos, come to these trainings, recharge your batteries. It had a huge impact on my personal life. I'm way happier. I enjoy what I do more. I'm not burning out, not just going through the motions. And it's all that balance, so hopefully that kind of nailed it on the head for you.
Totally. Absolutely did. Tug, what are you thinking?
Yeah. So, I mean, I was just, Kirk, just trying to listen just because for me, at least one of the reasons that I wanted to do the podcast or just a podcast in general, is to kind of learn. So I'm my shop solo. I've been solo and I kind of like it that way. You were talking about consistency, which it's kind of easy to be consistent on your own or like even get better, be more consistent and improve your process, hone your skills. It's super easy. What would you tell somebody who wants to transition from solo to team? Where do you start and like who do you hire?
Well, you would think that your first hire would be a detailer. You really think that's what it is. But what do you do during a day that interrupts your workflow all the time?
Answer calls.
It's answering that call,
bids.
checking the door, sending invoices, sending the email out. So if you're ramping up and you can stay in the shop, if you can hire an office individual to answer that phone call, to run your social media, to answer messages, texting, your field software, operate that, send out email blasts, whatever it is, that's going to be more productive than hiring somebody from the get-go. I know it kind of seems counterintuitive, but really that takes that off your plate and you lose your flow, right? So if you're in the middle of a car, you get a phone call. Sometimes those phone calls last 20 minutes or more. And you're like, okay, where was I? I got to get back on this car. And then before you know it, you've lost 45 minutes on that car. And then you could have been way farther along on that car. So I can put time back in your day by not having to do all that, by having those individuals doing that. And it's a hard pay scale. It puts some pressure on you. And it's hard for you to understand you're equating productivity to profit. But really, it puts hours back in your day. So, you're doing more physical labor, but you're able to push that out. And then the next step would be to hire in someone under you, probably in the wash bay. If you can teach them, that's how we step them up. We put them in a wash bay for months because the most important part of a detail is the prep. You can't logically go back and fix that once you're really deep into a detail. So that prep process is very important. Teach them your standard operating procedure, get that down, whatever that is, whatever that consistency that you do over and over, replicate that. And then you step that individual up to the next process, into whatever the next step is for you. Once you get that down, it hammers in their head so they're not all over the place. Because what happens if you throw them through the whole process, they'll try to reinvent the wheel, they'll start new processes, they'll do things differently. But if you hammer in their head this one task over and over, they'll get it. That'll be second nature. They'll do it in their sleep. And then you reintroduce the next one to them. So hires are so tough. people think that anybody can throw in there and detail a car. It is way more in depth than your standard individual that hasn't detailed professionally understands. It's not like washing and vacuuming your car in your driveway or in your home or garage. It is really more in depth. So for me, that would be the next step, and that's a leap of faith too. You've got an store relying on you to pay their bills. But that would be what I would do. And then they can control the marketing and everything. They're selling accounts for you. You're too tired to make phone calls or to buzz down to a new dealership if you want dealerships, or go visit the real estate offices and say, hey, we got openings this next coming week. All of a sudden you get the whole complex, you get that fleet account, and it takes so much weight off of you, and then you can focus in on your detailing. So that would be my first step for sure.
And that's a very interesting perspective. And I've heard, especially when you hire a manager or sales, like somebody on the floor, even if it's one guy doing, multiple things, to not hire a detailer to do that sort of thing, like hire somebody that's interested in sales or has done sales. That's very interesting. And I'm, for me, my perspective is always like, I love the facts. When I'm doing an interior, I put my earbuds in and I listen to like an investigation. I've listened to thousands of hours of like JFK, because like, when somebody hears like, oh, Lee Harvey Oswald, shot JFK at Dealey Plaza and JFK died at 12:50. Like, I want to know every single little detail. Now, in business, that's terrible, because like, I'll say, and I'll tell my wife, who needs buy-in. She wants evidence. I could give her facts. That's not evidence. I can give her all the detail. Like, oh, honey, did you see that JFK? Did you see that new video? And she's like, I don't really know. And then I go through all the details, and she's like, that's not evidence. So like for me, it's so anyway. I said all that to say it makes sense, because of like, I'm thinking to myself, if I hire someone to detail and I answer the phones, well, now I have to train them and answer the phones.
Yeah.
If I hire someone to answer the phones and do all the marketing, I detail.
Yeah.
Like, that does seem a lot more simple.
Yeah, and you can pull them out of the office too. If they have an idle day, you can kind of cross train them as well.
Right.
That way, if you do need to, if a customer needs to talk to the boss, you can kind of plug them in and say, hey, can you finish this interior, or can you finish this prep for me? So you can cross train them as well, but their main focus needs to be in the office. And a utility player, if you will, that's really good at everything. It's that individual's tough to get, because that's a business owner, right? And our perfect employee is basically a business owner mentality that's scared to talk to people. That's really who you want, because if not, they're starting their own thing. They don't want to do all the interaction. So it's a hard balance of finding that key employee. It is very difficult. Anybody can do this. Anybody could run a business if it was easy as plugging in employees for positions. But as a business owner, you gotta be willing to do the crummiest of the jobs. You gotta be willing to, plunge that toilet, do the dirty, nasty car. You gotta be willing to do all that. It doesn't matter, because they're not going to show up. They're going to have emergencies. Everything is more important than work. The workforce is getting harder now. Work ethic's getting less and less common, I guess. So, and that's what's part of training is important too. Kind of not just about the shiny car, about that whole balance. So
that reminds me of a story. I was just talking to a fairly new Opti-Coat installer, established business audio. They're doing fantastic. They sell more coatings in 2 months than I did all year. But anyway, he was telling me, because you're talking about doing the dirtiest work, and what I'm seeing is kind of a resurgence, or maybe it never went away, with the ego, which you were talking about earlier, and just attitudes in general. Detailers' attitudes. Not just the ego, and we're men. We all have egos. We don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be told we missed the spot. How dare you? Don't you know I'm really good? And we take it so personally. And that stuff, as a dad, as a husband, as a business owner, you have to leave your personal feelings aside. He was telling me, Mark. He was telling me about there was this guy down in Maryland. I don't know if he's still in business, but he was doing PPF, tint, detailing, and something else, dent repair. He didn't do any of it. He outsourced all of it. Everybody came to his shop and did it. I'm like, that's incredible. Like, I think to myself, that guy doesn't have any skills. People aren't going to trust that. They're trusting the business. That is a skill. It's an incredible skill that I don't have. Anyway, he was talking about the PPF guys, 2 of them, 90 minutes could do a full front clip. Tint guys were like 45 minutes and they were done. Whoever the other guy was doing incredible. The detailer wanted to get paid early before the job. He had the worst attitude. He took the longest and he complained about everything. Like, man, like that's kind of the reputation I think detailers have. What advice do you have somebody starting out, somebody seasoned, and somebody that's been doing it a long time as far as attitudes, taking things personally? Do you have any experience in kind of that with yourself or other people?
Yeah, I mean, treating your employees like individuals and not just tools. I guess early on when I hired people, I guess a lot of it was insecurity of me. So I needed to be barky. I needed to be authoritative. Okay. And really leading isn't barking at your employees or barking at someone to follow you. Being a leader is forming yourself in a way that they want to follow you, making an environment that they want to be there. They have the support of not just learning a new trade, but you genuinely care about them. You know, for me anyway. And you get burned a lot. A lot of people take advantage of you. And that's kind of a kick right in the gut. You know, a lot of the times you pour into these individuals and they don't care. They just care less about you. But what happens is that when you get a quality individual, they value that. They really value that interaction. They come and say, hey, I come to work and I'm not stressed out. Yeah, I'm doing this job, but I don't feel like I'm at work. I'm having a good time. I'm able to be myself. I don't feel like I'm under a microscope all the time. So building that relationship, genuinely building the relationship is really key. Because then you could re-encourage people that's unsure, they're uncertain, they're not really, don't have any confidence. Part of being a leader is building that individuals what they're lacking. You're supposed to add to where they're having a low spoon day. You know, you're supposed to give them some more influence or fill up that glass a little bit more where they're lacking, and you build them up in confidence, and all of a sudden you've morphed this really meek, soft speaking, not confident individual into a machine, right? Yeah. And they got confidence, and then that reflects on your business and it reflects on your character too. Yeah. But there's no magic form. Juggling personalities by far is the hardest thing of running any business. It's not just about the process of know-how. It's juggling so many personalities, and that's tough. So that's a general synopsis. I'm not saying that's plug and play, but that definitely gets you on the right track.
Yeah.
And what do you think has been what's just kind of a funny question with let's say you get a brand new tool or chemical or whatever, and you're like, mind blown. This is cutting my time down so much. This is so much better. Yeah. Whose hands do that go into, yours or your employees?
Usually any product testing I do, just because I'm so familiar with dwell time and dilution ratios and different things that I can tune it into our process. And then I can say, okay, I know it says 10-1 here, but I like it better at 5-1, you know, for what we're doing. You know, so I get that particular process down with that chemical, and I can plug and play that chemical that may increase efficiency. Now the battle is retraining that guy that's hammered the same thing over and over for 5 years to switch to another chemical. That
you might have trained him on, right?
Yeah, it seems so simple, but they're like, I don't know, that's a new label. What is this?
Yeah.
So every new product, we have a process. I label generally what it does with a little piece of tape with a writing on it. So if it's degreaser, I label it degreaser, no matter what it is. You know, that way they know that plugs in as a replacement in the process if we change products or if we sample a new product we like. So
right, and you're having to deal with the mentality of like, well, gosh, like I didn't want to be wrong. You taught me how to do this way, and now you're telling me to do something different, and so you're dealing with that. But like, let's say you're a one-man operation stretching into two, or I guess this would be a two-man operation if you have a sales person, and then you're hiring that detailer. What is your what's kind of been your experience? Does the new guy get the nice stuff, or do they have to cut their teeth on the the half broken DA that doesn't
we
spin
train
properly until you get it up to 6.
Yeah, no, we train them on the equipment as if they're professionals, because they need to have the feeling of what it is, full strength, whatever the chemical is. Of course, I hover over them, make sure they're not making mistakes or damaging anything. But it's important for them to have the full experience, to have access to all the equipment, the good stuff. But that's just how that goes. Sorry, I had a
call came through. It happens. Oh.
Well, he probably hit the wrong button.
I'm going to see if he'll answer some questions about like brass tacks. Like, okay, cool. You want to hire a salesperson? How much?
Sorry, totally
hey,
right.
That's all right. If that's all right, I want to ask a couple of brass tacks questions. So, like, we can talk about hiring a salesperson, hiring another detailer. Let's say your business is going okay. You're making enough money to keep going. You're making about $50K a year. So, you're making about $4,000 a month, and you think, I totally want to hire that sales person. Are they at a point where they can do it? Or what are some numbers that we can shoot for that, no, you need to work on getting your profitability up? You need to be at 100K or 150K before you even consider bringing someone on. Do you have to build it and then you hire them on, or is there a little bit of you build it and then,
there's a little bit of
your experience.
There's a little bit of long hours involved with that, because at a certain point it's a leap of faith. Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're starting to raise your workday up to past that 8 to 10 to 12 to 14 hours, I'm working all night. Okay. There might be time to hire somebody to cut those hours back, but if you're happy where you are, if you're doing that one car a day and your overhead's low, you really need to know what your real costs are. You don't need to lie to yourself. When you make $1,000 on a car, or $2,000 or $100, whatever it is, you can't say, I just made $1,000 profit, right? You got to say, okay, this is my cost per day for my facility, my average utility cost, my insurance, the maintenance of equipment. You need savings in case something breaks, because you've got Pinnacle equipment that goes down, you're out, right? So you need to have backups or ability to repurchase that you constantly have to dump into the business. So I would say work away until you have enough equipment to get all your backups, and have a backup for your backup, or to supply your shop with 2 detailers doing the exact same job. So that equipment's important to have to build up, and that comes with longer hours. That's kind of like an employee, right? You're paying, you're working extra hours to pay into your equipment fund, but you're treating it like an employee. Once that's paid off, maybe you can replace that fund you've been sticking back and hire somebody that kind of pick up those tools and fall in those gaps. So you can start dialing back your hours. You're more efficient that way. You're not tired. Getting your process down, your SOP down, can save you a lot of headache. That way it is consistent. So all of a sudden, what you were doing in 12 hours, you're doing in 7 hours, just because you're more efficient. And then that helps alleviate that burnout too. So that's kind of a broad question. It's really tough, because there's so many different scenarios, what's going on. And we get lazy. We don't want to go out and make any more sales, because I'm beating away in the shop all day long trying to get these cars done. I can't do anymore. Well, that's a bad place to be in, because you're going to hit the wall. You're going to burn out. Your body's going to give out. You don't get time with family or friends. So you don't let the business run you. You're going to have to make hard decisions and run the business. It's not easy, guys. The detailing industry is probably the worst, one of the worst business models out there. It really comes. It really comes with passion. It's driven by passion, because as soon as you quit working, you quit making money. You're trading hours for money. You really are, and you've got to figure out a way to sustain that where you don't hit that wall. It's a juggling act. Do without, make sacrifices. Don't overspend money you don't have. Don't go in debt. That'll kill your business faster than anything. You don't have to have that super nice car. You don't have to have that brand new piece of equipment. You can do with what you got. Don't overextend. When you've got a good month or a good week, don't blow it all. Put some money back, because detailing is feast or famine. The weather has a lot to do with it. The economy plays a role in it. Of course, the weather can run a whole week for you, and here you are, you spent all your money because you had a killer week last week, but then you're famine this week and you got no extra, you can't pay your utility bill. And I see that a lot. People's trying to keep up with the Joneses and trying to buy the nicest of nice stuff, the new equipment, the new chemical, whatever it is that they want to try. And that can be a demise quicker than anything. It's sacrifice. Entrepreneurship is sacrifice, doing without for a long time for a hope of a big return in the future. That's of it.
Absolutely. I think one thing we can get trapped in early on, especially I think younger guys in the detailing community, that they've seen all the reels and the videos of the guy, rolling up in his nice Sprinter van, that's all decked out and it's got all this stuff. We were talking to Scott Hare last week, and he's got his work car is like a Honda Accord or Civic's, got 300 and some odd thousand miles on it. One thing that I had come to realize is the customers care about themselves way more than they do about your process, what your car looks like. What are some pitfalls you've seen detailers get kind of consumed by, and what are some things that we can just avoid?
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get that fancy lighting system right away. That doesn't really help with correction. It just looks good on Instagram. Quit trying to impress other detailers and focus on yourself. Focus on your customer. So many people are starting to be enamored by getting followers from other detailers that don't pay your bills. It's great to network and have those friends, but that's not who you're trying to impress. You forget that you're trying to attract people to come in your shop to pay you money for your professional service. And I see that mistake a lot, and it's easy to do. You get a little following. It's an ego booster, so it's kind of has a counter effect that all of a sudden you get this big head thinking you're more than you are. And you need to stay grounded, stay humble, and stay trying to realize who you're trying to project this out to. It's a balance too, but that can be a mistake. Don't buy that fancy brand new truck just because you had a good month, just because the bank says that you can afford it because your ratio, whatever. Entrepreneur income is not the same as your 9-to-5 income. Okay, so I go 9 to 5. I don't have any uncertainties. If something breaks at my job at 9 to 5, I don't have to pay for it. But as an entrepreneur, if it goes down, you're on the hook for it. And if you spend all your money and you're totally overextended and you're spending every dime you've got, then you have to work 60 plus hours a week just to pay the bills. Then you go through burnout because you're like, I'm not getting anywhere. Well, it's because you bought stuff too soon. You bought that flashy thing. You upgraded shops too quick. You went ahead and got that house when you weren't quite ready for it. So we talk about that a lot in our training classes too. It's about just hold your horses. Just hold back a little bit. Don't spend everything every time you get a dime. Learn how to save, because I tell you, accidents happen. Insurance will come up and bite you before you know it. Taxes, oh my gosh, taxes. So that's a shocker to a lot of new business owners that fly under the radar for a full year. They're like, I had a full year, and all of a sudden, I owe money. I've spent all my money.
That's great. With the detailers of the Roundtable, and you're talking about training sessions, can you break down a little bit more of what that looks like, and is it curated to who's in the group? And one person's a one-man operation, they want to grow to 2. One guy's at 4 guys, they want to scale up. What does that look like, and where does that happen? Is it all in person? Is it online?
Yeah, so when someone signs up for a class, we usually reach out to the individual and kind of chat with them, see where they're at, so we can kind of prepare the class. If we got a whole class full of new guys, we can really cater that direction. If we got some veterans that's more focused on the work-life balance or how to be a better business owner, but they've got the detailing down, we'll focus more on that. But each class, you'll pick up a little nugget of information. I still do. I've been doing it 25 years. Every training, every event I go to, I pick up something new. So I say that to encourage these people that may think they know, got it all figured out, to come there and learn a new process. So that allows us to cater to them. We usually have a handful of trainers, so the student trainer ratio is really good. So we have a lot of good one-on-one time. If one individual is kind of a newbie, but the rest of the class more advanced, I'll pull him aside and say, hey, let's focus on this one thing you're struggling with. And then it's support after the training too. So it's not just done. It's not just those 3 days. You can reach out to our group. Once you join and you're a member of Roundtable, you can post in our private group. You can ask questions to our professionals, our royalty members, which are trainers. You can direct message me. So you have that support after it's all said and done. And then you're in the tribe, right? You join that group. That's what you click with. And that's who we're attracting, I think, is the people that want to help others or want to learn more, that really enjoy socializing with people that are like-minded and share the same passion they do.
I love it. And then for the Shine Time Expo, who should go to that? Where is it? When is it? And what are you excited about with it?
Oh man, I'm so excited about the Shine Time Expo. So the Southern Detail Conference was a thing that Daryl Lyons did, and that was just for the detail industry, and a special place that was unique, and he kind of led there, and that died off. And I enjoyed that show. That was one of my first shows I went to when I started in this side of the industry. And the Shine Time Expo is part of elevating the industry to a higher standard, raising the bar. What's the accepted vernacular, right? So how do you act in a certain situation? How to be more professional? It makes you feel good about what you're doing. You're getting around, high-end cars, exotics, or around jets and airplanes, yachts, and everything. We're going to have meet and greets with astronauts. The Blue Angel's going to be there. Flight simulators. You can take plane rides in the Warbirds there. All that's going on with a big car show, big event. There'll be vendors there selling stuff. So the entertainment's going to be awesome in amongst itself. We're going to have education running at the same time. Basically, these education classes are like introduction to things, the one-on-one class. It kind of whets the appetite a little bit for you to sign up to something more. There's not a lot you can do in a short class. It would be similar to an MTE style class where you're getting a taste of the individual, you're getting to know their character or hearing about the product or process. So it kind of gets you enticed to come to a deeper training. The networking is going to be great. All the industry professionals can gather together, have a good time. We're doing a Top Golf outing Friday night with all the vendors, and whoever shows up Friday can come. We're pushing for a lot of foot traffic. So a lot of your exotic car owners, your plane owners are going to be there, and those are your customers. So it's a selling show, so vendors can bring products to sell, so those individuals can buy them. So it's opportunity to walk away with a lot of swag. We'll have some grab bags. As this thing develops, we're going to do probably some awards in the future years. We'll probably do some giveaways, maybe some auctioning to give to a charity. As this grows, we can really build this into something special for the industry, a landing pad there that's not, don't get me wrong, SEMA's great. SEMA's awesome. It's a lot. It is a whole lot. And it's not just detail oriented. You're kind of passing by your crew. MTE has been great, with the detail industry coming together in the PDR. So I wanted something more focused on the luxury detail market that will really entice people, to kind of get into the industry. If they're interested in detailing, if they're seasoned veterans, or they have a family and their kids are interested in these cool things, come out, man. It's really cheap to get in. It's going to be a great time. A lot of entertainment. It's not your typical show where you just sit around and chat with everybody. There's going to be stuff going on. I think that's what's going to separate us, is the entertainment value on top of the education that you get from the expo. So
very exciting. Where is it and when is it?
I'm sorry. It's at the Lone Star Flight Museum in Houston, Texas, June 7th and 8th. So be there. If you just want to attend, the expo pass is $25 to get in, walk around, just have a good time. If you want to do education, it's $50 total. We wanted to keep the cost low so anybody could come. You can bring your family. We're going to let kids in for free, like 12 and under, whatever. So if your family comes you get the kids, and you're able to go in free. So,
Kirk, is there anything else that you're just like, I really want the detailing community to know this, or anything that's just kind of stuck out to you we haven't covered yet?
Reach out to your local competition. Visit those guys, get to know them, because that's really going to be your local support system. I'd love for you to be a member of Detailers Roundtable. You can join at detailersroundtable.com. You can go on Facebook and message me directly. You can go to the Shine Time Luxury Detail Expo page on Facebook to get all the up-to-date information. I'm available. Sometimes I'm on the phone, so I can't get back to you right away. So a direct message or a text message is always the best for me. So you can shoot me a message there and get a hold of me. That's about it, guys. I just want to elevate this industry. I want to see it win. I want to see it excel. I want to see new, passionate youngsters come into the industry and really excel. I want them to far surpass my success. I want everyone to do better than I did, and not have to struggle those first years of falling on your face and trying to figure things out. Because it took me a long time, the hard knock way of learning, bumps and bruises and failures. If I can say, if our organization can save some of those bumps and bruises, man, that's awesome. And you can far surpass me. I can rock you ahead 10 years at year 1 or 2, and really save you that headache. And I just want you to succeed. I want them to win. That's it.
Love it. Love it. Well, thanks so much for coming on, Kirk. Thanks for your time. We're looking forward to the Shine Time Expo. And is there a website for that too?
It is. Let's see. Go to the aviation
link in this.
Yeah, if you can link it, that'd be great. It's the aviationdetailassociation.com. It's the Expo tab. And I don't have that in front of me, but there is a direct link. Yeah, you can grab that off the Facebook page, the Shine Time page there. It's in all our ads and everything. It's a quick link. You can sign up there. Or if you got any questions, reach out to me. If you're a vendor and you're not in yet, we still have a little bit of space. So if you want to be a part of it and get a booth or do a sponsorship, we'd love to have you there and for you to be a part of it. I think it's going to be beneficial. And this is going to be a yearly event that we're going to do. So we want to build up something special for everybody.
That's awesome. And we know Scott Campbell's going to be down there.
Scott, he's my neighbor. He's just right down the road from him.
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to be a part of the expo, and
Jacob, real quick, I wanted to
a huge success. Yeah.
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt because you're going to do your outro, I guess. One thing I wanted to say or ask real quick, one thing, and I wrote it down because it's kind of what I'm learning now. You talked about being an entrepreneur is about working hard now for the hopeful payoff later, and I think that's true. And then what you said about detailing is kind of the most. All business is difficult. I mean, I'm sure running Amazon took a lot of work, and it really is. Detailing, though, I think what makes it, and there may be some things that aren't difficult in detailing running the business that are in like running a restaurant, right? Difficulty is kind of a relative term, but nevertheless, I kind of look at detailing like the catcher playing baseball. You're taking the hits. I was a catcher when I was a kid. Man, I took a ball where, come on, I got a padding there, and I still got hit. How did that happen? Because you move and the padding moves, and then you get it, and it's like dead arm. Detailing is like being a catcher, and sometimes you forget to wear your cup.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, what is your advice to those who are willing to take the? Because you really do. You got to be willing to take hit. Any business is like this. I understand that, but you're going to take physical hits.
Yeah.
Physical bumping your knuckles, busting your knuckles. Someone's going to come in, they're going to dent your ego because hey, you missed this spot. What is your advice for based on the entrepreneur hoping for the payoff in the future? Because some of these guys, they want all the glory and they don't want to do the work. What's your advice for somebody wanting to focus from being a technician to being an entrepreneur?
Gosh, it's a really broad question. It's tough. It boils back to consistency. It boils back to consistency, being professional. Don't put every opinion that you have on social media. As a business owner, you can't voice all your opinions because you're going to ruffle feathers one way or another. And your customer base, it shouldn't be on a left side or a right side or the belief system. It's hard to hold your tongue a lot, but do that. Okay, just be in your space. Be professional. If you're making the videos, make it about your business. Don't dabble into any other opinion or anything. Focus on what you do and do it well.
Yeah.
And do it consistently. But being willing to make the sacrifices, do without for a little bit. Dave Ramsey says beans and rice. I don't care what's in your bank account when you start. You need to act like you don't have anything.
Right.
Separate your personal funds and your business funds. The business needs to support itself, and you don't need to not pay a personal bill just to cover the shop bill. That's very important, because once you start to convolute your income and where the money goes, it gets a really blurry area. So it's very important to keep books. Don't lie to yourself. What your profit is, what your loss is, where you're falling short, what you have to do to make changes to become more efficient. Whatever those things are, your ego has to go out the window. You have to humble yourself and say, when you're an idiot, I'm an idiot. When you mess up, saying, I messed up, how can I fix it? They always say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you keep doing it, you're going to fail. So drop the ego, drop the glamour of it, and put your nose to the grindstone. Yeah, that's really it. Diligence.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, very good. Well, I learned a lot.
Yeah, well, good.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I think this is going to be just a real breath of fresh air and a drink of water for some people who are just plugging away. They're doing the thing. They feel alone, and there's support out there for you.
We could help. I'd love to talk to you guys. So reach out to me anytime. Absolutely, guys.
Thank you. Awesome.
Sounds
Thanks,
good.
Kirk.